Hey everyone, it's November 29th, and that means that if today is your birthday, you share it with serial killer Jesse Harding Pomeroy, known as the Boy Fiend, who murdered at least 2, but perhaps as many as 29 victims as a teenager. And that is him right up there. Born in 1860, Pomeroy grew up in a slum of South Boston, which is redundant since all of Boston is a slum. His mother earned her living as a dressmaker, and Pomeroy stood out among children in the neighborhood due to having a hair lip and an eye that was clouded over. He suffered frequent beatings at home, and soon he started abusing animals, including his own family's pets. Pomeroy didn't stop there, and by the age of 11, he was torturing young children in the neighborhood. In 1871 and 72, he took a total of 8 young boys to a secluded area where he stripped them nude and tied them up. His first few victims he merely beat until they were covered in bruises, but with his last few he used a knife, cutting them and drawing blood, even attempting to slice off the genitalia of one and biting chunks of flesh from another. The victims were able to describe him to the police and they arrested the 12-year-old. Pomeroy was sent to reform school where he was supposed to stay until he was 21. He was on his best behavior at the school, knowing that was his only chance to be released early, and indeed he was let out after 2 years instead of the 9 he was supposed to be there. Pomeroy wasn't reformed, however, and when he got out, his crimes escalated. In 1874, he abducted and killed a 10-year-old girl, beating and mutilating her body before burying it beneath the floorboards of his mother's house. A month later, he took a 4-year-old boy out into a marsh where he slashed him with a knife, nearly decapitating his victim. Pomeroy was immediately a suspect in this killing, and police picked him up carrying a blood-stained knife. His shoes matched those of footprints found near the dead boy, and when asked if he had killed him, Pomeroy simply said, "I suppose I did." At that point, they searched his home and found the body of the 10-year-old girl, and he confessed. He then confessed to killing 27 others and said he had buried 12 victims around his mother's house. I've been unable to find any confirmation of the additional murders happening, and he was never charged with them. At his trial, arguments were made that dime novels about sex and crime were to blame for his moral failings, an argument that we've seen repeated with things like heavy metal and video games throughout the years. Pomeroy stated that he had never read any of those books, however, and was convicted of multiple murders, being sentenced to death by hanging, but his sentence was commuted to life in prison. He was in solitary confinement for the first 41 years of his sentence, spending his time learning languages and writing books, one of which was published in 1920, before being allowed contact with other prisoners for the last few years of his life. Pomeroy died behind bars at the age of 72 in 1932. If this is your birthday, I hope you have a great day. Leave me a comment so I can wish you a happy birthday. If you know someone whose birthday it is today, send them this video so they can find out all about their birthday twin. And to Jesse Harding Pomeroy, I say, happy birthday, you bastard.